Okay, hello and welcome to episode 3 of our King's Quest 2 AGD Interactive Remake. The game was originally released in the early, mid-80s, early to mid-80s by Sierra Online.
The door is locked. A sign next to it reads, "Open from noon till sunset." The sun's position in the sky indicates it is currently midday. The owner must not be an early riser.
Okay. Anyhow, this is a free remake. It's available on their website to download for free, which is really cool. Our quest in this game... well, let's talk about it outside of the town here, because it is a little bit loud.
Greetings again, merchant.
Yes, many greetings. Need you have now for my wares of great specialty?
What wares do you sell, good merchant?
For yourself, behold them.
You look over the merchant's wares of great specialty and quickly reevaluate them as junk.
You seem to have quite a selection of, well, quite a selection.
A keen eye have you. In an item or two provoke interest, I might?
A daunting task. Rather, by all means.
This I have.
You appraise the object he holds up to you. It is a simple shell, intricately fashioned into the shape of a cone. The workmanship is unlike anything you have ever seen.
Fascinating. Where did you find such a thing?
Oh, old it is. From ancient times descends. Valuable, without question. Royal property, former, to be sure.
You consider his story. Then you begin wondering which beach he found it on.
If I were to, say, purchase the shell, what would it cost?
A trifle would you expend. 7 golds.
I fear that I did not bring any money.
Curiosity, I find, in one who travels but with nothing to barter brings.
Good point.
Might you trade the shell comb for something?
The merchant ponders over this for a moment.
Of value, many things are. Of fancy, only one I have.
And that is?
Pearls. From curiosity, have you knowledge of the speaking pumpkin that once sat here? Misplaced it has become.
Speaking pumpkin? Is this yours?
Ah, keen eyes you have. For that, a reward shall you receive.
And that would be?
The pleasure you will have in doing business with me.
Okay, well, I do have the pearl.
Would you be interested in this pearl?
Indeed, I would. In return, the shell I present to you. May you be always groomed well.
The merchant grabs the pearl and tosses the shell comb to you. Then he saunters off. History will decide how greatly you were just swindled.
Oh, what a beauty. This will be worth a fortune back home.
You have entered the town of Kalima. 2 buildings in The town gives... The horse doesn't...
Okay, well, apparently this is what I needed, so... Okay, and so the thing said to get back into the story of the game, when we finished up King's Quest 1, Sir Graham the Knight had just become King Graham by rescuing the 3 magic treasures and returning them to the king who passed away, made us king. The start of King's Quest 2, we were looking into the magic mirror and see a damsel trapped in a tower in Kalima, so here we came. We have just talked to this magic doorway of destiny who says that we need to get these 3 treasures.
You won't be needing another lemon.
We need these 3 stones in order to unlock the door to destiny, and basically says where to get them. 1 in the swamp, 1 in the ocean, 1 way up high. We have to fly somehow. So we're here looking around in the ocean, basically.
As you walk towards the mermaid, she tenses suddenly. Clearly, while she finds you to be a somewhat interesting and perhaps amusing creature, she still does not trust you in the slightest. You say a few words to the mermaid. It quickly becomes apparent to you that she cannot understand your strange speech, let alone speak it. A mermaid basks on a nearby rock. Her long flowing hair extends over most of her upper body. The green scales on her lower body sparkle as she basks in the sun. How ingenious! It's a shell which has been intricately fashioned into something resembling a comb. You hold out the shell comb in your hand. Clear recognition shines from the mermaid's delicate features. She hesitates a moment, then cautiously extends her arm, hands open expectantly. You gently place the shell comb in her palm. The mermaid examines it and smiles. She removes an opal necklace from around her neck and hands it to you. After a moment of admiring her once-lost possession, she looks at you with anticipation. You attempt to charade the act of going underwater to the mermaid. She regards you with a look of puzzlement. Just when the whole demonstration becomes too embarrassing to continue, she suddenly dives into the sea and swims right up to you. After giving you a rather intense kiss, the mermaid dives under the water again. You wonder where she has disappeared to. Then suddenly, you feel a pulling at your legs.
Uh-oh.
The mermaid holds on to you, keeping you from resurfacing. You struggle instinctively while trying to hold your breath, but she will not let go. You know you are going to black out soon. Wait a minute, you're still breathing. How can this be? Could it have been the mermaid's kiss? Speaking of which, where has she gone to this time?
Sweet, a seahorse. Let's save here.
It is a simple but carefully woven pendant of seagrass. A shiny opal dangles from it. It is very lovely. Well, this is a new experience. The seahorse willingly allows you to climb upon its back. You slide into the little saddle and take up the reins in your hands. You just hope this creature knows where it is taking you. After a time of traveling through ever-deepening water, you arrive at a massive stone archway. Passing through it, you notice it is covered with many different intricate symbols, none of which you recognize. Mer writing, perhaps? As you emerge on the other side of the arch, a grand sight greets your eyes. You have entered an aquatic throne room. As one would expect, such a place has a throne of sorts, but what you see seated in it takes your breath away, if that still applies. It is unmistakably the ruler of the Mer people, the king of this watery world, known by many names. Neptune is the one by which he is best known to your kind.
All right.
You bow before the king. He returns the gesture with a lowering of his own head. You open your mouth to speak, but only a bubble emerges. It begins floating up to the surface. You watch as your air bubble divides in two. Incredibly, each half maintains its semi-spherical shape. You take the half bubbles in your hands and position them respectively near your mouth and ear. A deep, elegant voice instantly booms from them.
You are welcome here, human.
Thank you. I am King Graham of Daventry.
Your courtesy depicts your stature. What is it you seek here?
You explain that you are seeking the 3 gems of nature, and that you believe one of them to be somewhere in this realm. You demonstrate the approximate size and shape of the gem, then mention the Door of Destiny and what you hope to find on the other side.
I do have that which you are seeking, and know of the Door of Destiny. It is very old. Its origin is known to but a few. What I possess was known to the ancients as the Birth Gem. In the realm of the Mer people, it is called the Water Gem, for without water, life cannot begin.
Might I have this gem, Your Majesty?
I shall let you have the gem, but first I must ask you to earn it by way of performing a service for me.
You are about to say anything, but then remember what you heard the last time you said that word to the stone door. Instead, you just nod and allow Neptune to continue.
My trident, the symbol of my power and the strength of my people, has been stolen.
A faint mumbling can be heard through the ear half of your bubble. This event is obviously of concern to those in attendance.
It is believed that one of our allies and neighbors have taken advantage of the Mer people's kindness, and that their own king now has possession of the trident. If you can reclaim it in the name of the Mer people, I will grant you ownership of the Water Gem. Will you do this, King Graham?
The murmuring has stopped. All are awaiting your response.
I would be honored to reclaim your trident, Your Majesty.
My sentries will escort you to the border between our two kingdoms. You may continue to use that steed to hasten your journey. It is my best. My sincerest hopes that you do not fall victim to the Sharkies.
As you prepare yourself for this new quest, a sudden pang of apprehension seizes you. Did the king just say Sharkies, as in sharks? Like the guards of Castle Daventry, they're the strong and silent type. Neptune's royal guards remind you of your own castle guards, except these are naked from the waist up and have fishtails. You expect that you would get about the same length of conversation out of them, perhaps less. As you depart the underwater kingdom, you see two guards waiting to escort you to the Sharkies' realm.
All right, let's do this.
The sentries swiftly guide you along the bottom of the seabed, descending into much darker, colder water. After keeping pace with them for what seems like an eternity, you notice a forebodingly dark area looming closer and closer. You have arrived at the border of the Sharkies' kingdom. This is as far as the sentries will take you. One of the guards salutes you, then they both head back to the safety of their own waters. You're on your own from here, Graham. Those guards were sure in a big hurry to get out of here. Sinewy seaweed wavers in the ocean tide. This kind of plant would not be useful to you.
Okay.
You saw a sharky in the sea. He quickly made a meal of thee. If you want your life prolonged, next time don't delay so long.
Dude, I walked right into it. All right.
Debris from a wrecked vessel lies strewn and half buried on the seabed. Seeing no remains of the crew, you wonder if they were eaten before or after they drowned. You need to get Examining the heavily waterlogged remnants of the vessel, you notice an old antique bottle half buried in the sand. With great difficulty, you lean over in your saddle and manage to scoop it up. It is a clear bottle with a cork at the end. Inside, you can see a large piece of cloth which has been meticulously folded up. You remove the cloth from the bottle. It is a large sheet of cloth. It is a clear, empty bottle. You don't find anything of value or interest within the wreckage. There is nothing of interest lying. You saw a sharky in the sea. You sluggishly attempt to grab some of the small fish in your palm. However, they easily evade you by zipping around your hand and through your fingers.
Is that what these are?
This underwater realm belongs to the Sharkies. The water drops noticeably in temperature as you progress further into it. There are bound to be sentries on patrol around here, so you remind yourself to be alert. These small, luminescent fish are feeding on a strange-looking plant. You place the empty bottle on the seabed close to the luminescent fish. The fish don't seem interested in an empty bottle. There is nothing. The candle. It has a. You can't. You take the bottle. You need to get. You lean over and pick some of the grass which grows in between the rocks. You stuff the sugary grass into the empty bottle and push it all the way to the bottom. You can't. You place the baited bottle on the seabed close to the luminescent fish. A few of the glowing fish are now swimming around inside the bottle. You take the bottle. It is a clear bottle. Inside you see some glowing fish. They're bright and pretty. They're also pretty bright. This is the main entrance to the Sharkies' fortress. Judging by the looks of things, simply entering and grabbing the Trident will not be as easy as you'd hoped. You get the feeling you should not dally here for any length of time. Maybe a frontal approach wasn't such a good idea. This is the main entrance to the Sharkies' fortress. Judging by the looks of things, simply entering and grabbing the Trident will not be as easy as you'd hoped. You get the feeling you should not dally here for any length of time. This guard would not be interested in anything of yours except for your corpse. You can't use this. Maybe a frontal approach. What? This underwater realm belongs to. This is. This underwater. There is nothing. The western wall is but an illusion. You easily pass through it into a series of caves and tunnels on the other side. A large opaque shell seemingly blocks a tunnel to the north. Whatever lies in that direction must be very important. You can't budge the shell. Either it opens from the other side or it's just plain stuck. You slide your blade through a small gap in the door and pull with all your might. It is difficult handling your weapon underwater, and you realize that combat will not be an option. So if it ever comes to that, you're in big trouble. As you open the door, ample light floods into the underwater cave, and you are now able to make your way around without the glowing fish. You remount the seahorse. You think it wise to dismount before proceeding any further.
If you say so.
Oh no, the seahorse has followed you. Let's hope it doesn't give your presence away. You are safely concealed behind the remnants of a stone archway. This is fortunate, as the king of the Sharkies is also here. Aside from his menacing appearance, he also seems to be in a very bad mood.
I do not understand it. It should work for me. Is it not written that Trident's power can only be wielded by those of goodwill? Well, is it not?
The king's aides nod fervently.
And do I not possess the greatest will in this kingdom? No one can best me in battle. My resolve is unshakable. No amount of bleeding can dissuade me from slaughtering my enemies. Does this not signify that my will is the best there is?
The Sharky King's aides seem all too willing to agree.
Then why does it not work?
You watch carefully as the Sharky King taps 4 shells in order around the arch.
It matters not. Tomorrow we invade the Mer people's territory. For without the Trident's power, that old fool Neptune and his weakling followers will fall before our might. Goodwill. Ha! Mine is superior to all.
As he leaves, the Sharky King motions for his guards to remain.
Okay.
The Sharky guards are menacing in appearance, and you imagine they could do you a fair amount of damage if they were so inclined, and you believe they are. This guard would not be interested in anything of yours except for your corpse. It is a clear, empty bottle. The guards have noticed you. Did you expect to just float by unnoticed? There are some intelligent guards out there. The cloth seems to be a large sheet. The seahorse does the cloth. Having an idea, you approach your somewhat reluctant steed and slap him hard on the back. Look at him go. The guards are momentarily distracted. Now is your chance.
If I can remember the order.
You push on the shell. It moves back slightly into the wall. You were never any good with this sort of thing at school. Having an idea? Look at him go. The guard. You push on the shell. It moves back slightly into the wall. You were never any good with this sort of thing. You push on the shell. It moves back slightly into the wall.
There we go.
Without delay, you snatch up the trident before the guards return to their posts. It appears as if the guards are losing interest in the seahorse. You had better get out of here quickly. Oh no, the seahorse has followed you all the way back to the secret entrance. The guards are sure to discover you now. You remount the seahorse. Your seahorse glides onward, flicking its little tail faster than ever. You grip the reins tightly, glancing nervously over your shoulder every so often to check for pursuing sentries. As you make distance, your anxiety melts into relief. But it is to be short-lived.
Oh. They're getting closer, though.
Finally, you see the light at the end of the tunnel. You quickly make a dash for the exit. As you emerge, you realize you have only seconds before the guards come out after you. And even if you could outrun them, you're sure the commotion would attract the sentry's attention. Then you'd be in real trouble. Suddenly, you hear a strange voice in your head.
He of noble and goodwill, royal trident thou may wield.
You don't have time to defend yourself against both guards. Charging with trident blazing? That's all well and good, but when there's more than one target, a preventative strategy is called for. You push on the shell. It moves back slightly into the wall. The sight of all that treasure was too much a temptation for your greedy eyes. At least you didn't have to look at it for long. You push on the shell. It moves back slightly into the wall. Without delay, you snatch up the trident before the guards return to their posts. It appears as if the guards are losing. Oh no, the seahorse has followed you all the way back to the secret entrance. You remount. Your seahorse glide, but
I'm just going to say no because we've already done it.
you see a light at the end of the tunnel. You quickly make a dash for the exit. As you emerge, you realize you have only seconds before the guards come out after you. And even if you could outrun them, you're sure the commotion would attract the sentry's attention. Then you'd be in real trouble. Suddenly, you hear a strange voice in your head.
He of noble and goodwill, royal trident thou may wield.
You can't... You wonder what that did, if anything at all. Oh. It appears to be another part of... You touch the wall, as you suspected. It is now as solid as rock.
Good guess. All right.
The shark is not paying you much notice. You would do best not to unnecessarily draw its attention. The gates are now securely locked, and the sentries are gone from their posts. The Sharky King must have sent every guard at his disposal to find the missing trident.
Just trying to see if there's anything else down here before we return.
The Trident guides you back to Neptune's realm. You approach the king. He smiles and graciously accepts his trident from you. Then he calls everyone to attention.
To commemorate the return of my trident, and to honor King Graham's success, I hereby call for a celebration.
The celebration lasts for some time. You eat, drink, and have a merry time with many of the mer people. After a few hours, the festivities wind down, and you finally have a chance to speak with Neptune alone.
I hope you warn him about the attack.
The gems of nature represent the 3 stages of life. Water gives birth to life, and thus what I have given you is the first of 3. Second is the growth gem, or air gem, for air sustains life and permits it to grow.
How might I find the growth gem?
I know only that its location is as far above the surface of the land as we are below it. Beyond that, I cannot aid you.
A smirk crosses Neptune's face momentarily.
You might say that air is not exactly my element.
You decide that the beverages consumed were to blame for that one.
And the third gem, Your Majesty?
Third is the death gem, the completion of life and the natural order of things. The door of destiny understands this now, as did the ancients who imprisoned the soul within. As for that gem's location, I had hoped you would have no business venturing to the castle. Kolima was once ruled from that place, but sadly her people have not seen their lord for quite some time.
How long a time?
Oh, a good 4, maybe 5 decades.
Decades? Surely then...
If you please, I would prefer not to dwell upon this subject. You have done me a great service this day, and I thank you. Good luck, King Graham, and good speed.
You depart the underwater kingdom and head back towards the surface. What an incredible experience. You are certain you'll never forget the adventure you just had. Additionally, you have acquired one of the gems. As you resurface, you realize that the magic which allowed you to breathe underwater has now subsided.
Well, let's see if we can go put the gem into the rock wall.
You would prefer not to place the gems of nature into the door until you have collected all 3 of them.
Makes sense. Okay, well, let's go back to the town. Assume that our time underwater has... maybe it's noon now? And we can unlock some of the next part. And with that, let's save it here, and let's call this an episode. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you next time.